This conference will now be recorded.
No. Well, I think we'll get through your, and then we'll get Brad in right away.
Then I can get out of here.
If that works for you, Fred.
Can we do that before? I mean, I'll call the meeting in order, but can we do that before they approve the agenda and all that?
No, let's go through and approve that. Let's do the
Okay.
normal and then we'll get.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Any additions or corrections to the agenda? Otherwise, need approval on that. No? Okay, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll move.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Oh, I was asking for a second. But I can't say that.
I'll second.
Now I've got a motion and a second. Somebody that can second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Approve the minutes from May 3rd. We have a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
A motion, need a second? Mike Schulte will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Let's approve the accounts payable. Any questions on that?
I'm assuming the tent umbrella thing is the pool stuff.
Thanks for the umbrella.
Yep.
Need a motion to approve the accounts payable.
Mary will move.
Troy will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay. We've invited Brad Thatcher here to kind of, right?
Update.
Well, kind of, yeah.
We just introduced Brad. Everybody, this is Brad Thatcher. The guy you want if you're going to refurbish your pool. He's well spoken of he does a lot of pool refurbishments everywhere. So we're just asked him here tonight to speak to the time frame. We ran into a little bit of issues on the sandblasting with a lot of layers of paint. Going to be delayed a little bit more. We'll let Brad talk about kind of the time frame from here.
Sandblasting, too many coats, and the concrete underneath is too soft. So the problem is that instead of going at it big time, they're kind of trying, they're being very careful because they can't take too much off because they'll get into the concrete and it just, they've already hit some spots and it just chews it up. And so it's butter underneath. So we want to take enough of the paint off, all right, to get a nice coat on there that'll last 3 to 5 years, but yet we don't want to take enough of that out that we get into that soft concrete. And so it's taken probably a day and a half more than it should. We thought we'd be painting by now, but we're not. All right, so we're looking at tomorrow, we're probably going to be done sandblasting, cleaned up. I should be done patching. And we're hoping that Wednesday we'll start painting. Here again, we're gonna, with the heat and stuff, we're gonna do, instead of one large coat, we're probably gonna go two coats. We're gonna go one day and the second day, and then we'll do the black lines. And then we're hoping to fill be done painting by Friday. If we have good weather, which just looks like we are. It takes 3 to 5 days for this epoxy to cure. We would like, if it's rainy, miserable, not very sunny, it's 5 days, we could start filling in 3. All right. We're, should take us 1 day to fill. We could fill with a fire hydrant. All right. And then we'll start up the system. I mean, we're just gonna think positive. Everything seems, the pipe plumbing should be good. Everything should be good. We're gonna have to baby this thing. Usually we'd like to let it sit and kind of get the chemicals all ordered and heated and take our time, but we don't have that. So we're gonna be having to watch it very closely. So we got 4 days to get it up and running and going and heated, which we should be able to do, but it's going to be a pain. It's going to be a pain in the rear to do, but shouldn't be a problem.
What we're up against, and I spoke to Ann today over the weekend and then again today, what we're up against is if we move swimming lessons another week out, then we're into the 4th of July and then everything moves back and it's all goofed up. Everything is just not going to work. So, having it going for Monday, the 21st is kind of the drop dead, but we have to. Brad, you said you did Rochester pools in 4 days?
Yeah, we did Silver and Soldiers in 4 days.
I talked to Lake City, they got theirs, once it was filled, it was 4 days. 5 days in Winnemingo, 4 days in Rochester, 5 days in Cannon Falls, they're filling theirs now. They'll be ready on Friday. So I understand our pool is a little different animal. Mike's had a lot of experience with that over the years and trying to get chemicals balanced. Brad, you said you'd kind of help us out.
I'll help you out because we're going to be doing them. It's going to be, instead of just checking them once a day, we're going to be checking them 3-4 times because we're going to have to keep adjusting them. And it's a pain in the rear because it's going to take a lot of time and effort for it to do. And
The alkalinity is what we run into. So we dump in Muriatic right.
Yeah.
We don't even mess around. We dump in a Muriatic right away and try to get that pH straightened out right away.
Yep. And we'll be dumping in and trying to guess how much we need to dump in. But here again, getting it cleared, getting chlorine is no problem. It's getting it cleared and heated. That's going to be our problem. But
I think a little bit, talking to Ann, a little bit cold isn't a huge issue.
no. Yeah.
It's the clear and so Mike's comfortable with the chemicals is
Yeah.
the main thing because we don't want to make anybody sick either.
And then the only thing that we really got to worry about is one, and that's going to be up to you guys, whether you want the inspector to come before you open. Okay. The climbing wall here again, it all depend on, and that's not a big deal. I have to get the state inspector down here. And so it may be a couple days after we open that it's his schedule. So, we'll have it out, but he's got to come and approve it before we could use it. But I don't know if that's that big of a deal. And he may come beforehand. I don't know his schedule. I will give him as much notice as I can once we're up and operating, but we have to be at peak condition and peak thing when I want him showing up. Because the other county ones and the other ones, they'll let you go a little bit, but everything's got to be perfect for this guy.
So as far as Heather coming in, that usually, they usually come in on their own. They never tell us or we never tell them when.
And that's fine.
But
Yeah.
they just come in whenever, so.
And so you can open and go and do, and then they'll show up and see how you're doing and go from there. That's fine. Sometimes like the city, we call because, they feel important. So we like to get them there and then they come and check us out. So.
Well, the state inspector that recommended you, so.
Yeah, he'll come out. He's very good.
Yeah.
He'll come back and look at this and just make sure that everything's up.
Sure.
We got a few things, a few ladders that are bad. Few cups are bad. We'll deal with that. That's minor stuff. We really want to get it painted and filled. After that, all this other little stuff is minor.
It's going on the 21st.
All right, what other questions you guys have for me?
So
Quick question I got, Brad, is the original schedule was targeted for Monday, right? The 14th was kind of the goal, right?
Well, that was right. The opening was gonna be the 7th,
Okay.
and then we pushed it back to the 14th because of weather. Lost a whole week there with the rain, the monsoon that came.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then a couple things happened. The sandblaster had a little extra time because they couldn't sandblast either in the monsoon. And so they got backed up. A couple of guys, different things came up. So, so that's why now, and you know, we had talked about doing one coat of paint. Would mean we probably got to paint it again next year. So that wasn't recommended by anybody. I did talk to some other communities too. And so I think we should do it right, get take our time, get the 2 coats of paint on there. You know, I think it's going to be beautiful. And theoretically, moving forward for the next few years, we should be able to get it up and running pretty painlessly after this, once we get past this. It's just that 21st is, I mean, that is the deadline for swimming lessons. And it works okay. Ann said it works okay to back it up that week because most of those swimming lessons are Cougar Care. So parents aren't hauling the kids anyway. Cougar Care is bringing all those kids over with a bus. So if it's a week later, it's no big deal to them.
I was just getting clarification on what the actual delay was. So the original target as of last week or whatever was the 14th, Monday. Now it sounds like we're going to use next week as our buffer and have it open.
We have to,
Yep.
because of the
Oh, absolutely.
sandblasting and the difficulty with the, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but about the most maintenance we were allowed to do on it for years was painting and painting different portions of it as it needed it. And so now they're running into,
Paint caulk.
now they're running,
Yeah, caulk on that fucking pool.
Caulk, too.
I don't know if you guys had, you know, stock in that caulk company, but holy shit.
probably holding those.
That's all
coats.
it's holding.
Yeah.
We like to call that stuff Band-Aids.
Oh,
Mike likes to paint.
yeah. And the reason for the 2 coats of paint is because there's spots that are painted and spots that are bare concrete. And so you have to, if you put a thin coat that absorbs it, it'll last longer. And so that's what they do it for a living and I just go by what they say. So
Absolutely. I appreciate the explanation of the delays and things like that. So all we're using is our buffer, that 7-day buffer. So we're going to use that up. And the goal now is to open on the 21st 4 swimming lessons. And this is going to be the safest, highest quality way to do it. It'll get the longevity of our investment. We're going to do it right with the paint, take our time filling it, getting the safety levels of the alkalinity and things like that.
Yeah,
All done before we need to
it's
open.
going to take him, that's going to be his, and that's the thing that he's going to have to look at.
Yep.
That 4 days before we open is going to be a pain in the rear for him because he's going to have to be checking these levels all the time.
Yep. Right, he likes to. And then the last question I guess I have is you had mentioned the climbing wall and the inspector and stuff like that. Are there things, resources or time that you're spending on the wall that would jeopardize just getting to the point where we could fill it? Are there things in your schedule that you could do to help get it filled quicker rather than working on the wall?
Nope, I'm not going to do anything with the diving board. I'm not going to do anything with the wall until the pool is filled because the 3 days that you're taking to do the wall and fill and everything else. And so,
Perfect.
yep, because right now my biggest goal is to get this painted. Once I get it painted, I can work on the returns and the skimmers and the ladders and all that stuff. Even when it's full, I can work with the ladders and the diving board and all that stuff. It's mainly getting it, and like the caulk, you know, we had to yank all that old caulk, but we got to put that caulk back again because we can't let water in between that coping in the pool. So we've got to recaulk that. And now that isn't any big deal. We just have to caulk it before we open the pool to the public.
I was just clarification of the resources, making sure that that was your priority. Our priority is to get it filled quicker. Is there any use of volunteers or anything? You said manpower is at a premium right now. Is there any way that some volunteer crews or anything that could help out do any of that stuff, or is it just getting in the way?
So what's going to happen is this. All right, once the sandblaster gets done, once I get done with my concrete, all right, you guys can get in there and clean up around the deck. If you got any deck stuff that needs to get cleaned, any leaves, debris around there that needs to be out of there. The bathrooms, all that stuff's got to be, you know, ready for inspection. Because if I get my state inspector there, he will go through there. all right? He will go through the bathrooms and make sure everything flushes and all that stuff. Other than that, it's just gonna be, you know, making sure that
Right.
there, because we're gonna power wash the deck down when we're all done with this construction, so that's
So
about
nothing
it.
from the actual refurbishing side, it's just whatever checklist we normally have for opening day. And Mike, you got that under control?
Come in with our paintbrushes.
Right, so unless you guys want to come with paint suits on and masks and goggles, they're gonna spray that on. So good luck.
I've been out there the last couple of days watching him work in that little pit with no wind and no nothing. He's doing a great job all by himself.
Oh, gosh.
They do a nice job.
Fantastic job.
All right, what else?
So are we going to every year sandblast and paint this thing then?
No.
This should last for,
So here's the thing that is going to be up to you guys is here's the goal, is if you can get and keep all the leaves and debris out of that pool before it freezes, then it won't stain that paint. All right, but if you don't, that is why people have to repaint, because it stains the paint and it looks terrible, and they'll go put another coat of paint on it because they want it to look nice. And the biggest problem that we see is these leaves. And of course, you're in the middle of a park, so you've got all these leaves, but it is, some people will take the time and effort to remove the leaves before it freezes and get them out of that pool area. All right, because that's the problem. But it's a daunting task. You know, you go there, you get them out, and you look 2 days later and there's twice as much back in. But that's what I'm gonna say, because when you clean it in the spring, then there you are. You will rinse it off, you'll power spray it, and the reason you're gonna paint it is not because it needs to be painted again, it's because you want it to look nice. And these oak leaves and everything else stains that paint. End of story.
But as far as peeling goes, peeling paint, it should be 2
Well,
years.
here's the thing. It is only as good as the substance you put it on. And right now, we are not putting this paint on anything that's worth a damn. Except for maybe our patches, but then our patches aren't on anything but butter right now. And so the warranty I have for my patches are 5 minutes, 5 miles, or as quick as I can get out of town. Because it's so bad. I mean, you know, that the life expectancy of this concrete is so far back. I mean, I could take a screwdriver and continually to grab, and that's why when they sandblast, they're so careful, because if he gets too fast, he's already puts a groove in there, you know, and it takes this much out, and I got a patch. And so there's nothing there to hold that patch on, and that's why you guys are on borrowed time. And so would I assume that you might have to do a little touch up? I have no idea what spring's gonna bring and how much of that patch is gonna come off, how much of the old stuff's gonna peel off. Don't know.
if the paint peels next spring, after the winter and stuff. If
You can touch up, I'm hoping.
You can touch up, you don't have to sandblast.
Hit the spots, no. You touch up, it's gonna come off in chunks, there's gonna be pieces of concrete with it. You're gonna have to patch it and then paint it and touch it up. And that's what, like at Soldiers Field, that's what we did. We hit patches and then painted the patches.
The problem you were having, Mike, all these last years on keeping the chemicals balanced. What was happening that we couldn't keep the chemicals balanced?
So I never really had any big problems in the big pool, but it was mostly the baby pool I had trouble. Once in a while, you get a glitch in that big pool, but
Baby pool is, right now, we're not gonna say anything until we get done with the big pool and we'll look at that, but the baby pool is in, I mean, I just don't know how we're gonna salvage anything because it just doesn't hold water. And it's just, the concrete's just, I mean, there's spots that are hollow underneath, and the concrete is just, and it's not level because it's been heaved up.
big, that's not, what is your time frame? You're thinking that, I mean, like, we get 3 years out of it, or what do you think?
You're gonna get, you're hoping for 2 to 4. If you get 4 years out of this pool, you're really lucky. I would think you got 2 years, 2 good years. I'm hoping you get 2 good years out of this thing. And by the 3rd year, you're thinking of doing something.
And in 2 years, your suggestion is not to put any more money into that thing.
No.
That's
Now, there's some things that I think I would think you guys should buy that you could use in a new pool, like an automatic cleaner that would clean the bottom of the leaves and debris, because that would be something that you could take with you to the new pool. You don't need to buy that. You know, there's a couple other things. I think right now that's your biggest one, because that will make his life super easy. It'll make the guards super easy. They can throw it in the morning, clean the pool, the leaves, the debris, all that stuff, pull it out, and you're done. And it's simple.
And that would be a must for a new pool to have that thing.
Yeah, I mean, when you buy a new pool, that's just kind of like part of it. It's like the garage door opener. You know, when you buy a garage door and a door, you get an opener. Well, that's kind of like with a pool. That's going to be something that you get.
How often they run that thing then?
Depends on the debris. Like, I tell you this, our Soldiers Field, they can drive theirs. All right, so they can move it. And so they'll hit it where there's debris. All right, I mean, and so they'll hit, you know, in certain areas where there's leaves and debris, they'll go vacuum it and it's remote controlled. So otherwise they can let it run.
Do you know anybody that sells these things?
Yeah. I get you a couple numbers. And it just depends, you know, you can have a bare bone model where you throw it in and it'll just automatically go and do its thing, or you can get ones with remote control. I mean, it just depends on how fancy you want to get, but they're almost a must. You know, you don't have to have it. We can brush them and do it the old way, but you're going to find it eventually. You're going to want it.
Just the bottom, or does it do the sides and everything?
Doesn't water line, does windows. You know, it just depends on how you want to do, because it can do just the bottom, it can do the walls, it can do the water line. And then handicap lift, you got a lift. Okay, so you're all right there. I saw those 4 bolts, so you're fine there. So what other questions you got?
Historically, the pH balance, which direction does it go into? Do you know that the basic or acidic?
So we usually start out with it, it usually starts out high.
Concrete leaching into it then?
I think it's the water that we have is.
Your water has got, it's got very high alkalinity. Alkalinity is super high and it raises the pH super high. And so you're always adding acid for the first 2 weeks. That's why it's nice to have 2 weeks of screwing around, because he's always adding acid. You can't have people in the pool when you do it. You know, it's a pain in the rear. And it takes 4 hours, then you come back in 4 hours and test it again. And then you come and add more, then you add another 4 hours, and then you camp over and and you keep doing that until you get it in the proper range, and then you're set. And that's where those 4 days will be hellish, because he's going to have to be watching it all the time. And it's a pain in the rear. What else?
Adjustment for those 4 days.
Constant. Instead of just letting see what the next day is and taking his time, you're on it. You're not letting it, you're just, okay, as soon as you can adjust it again, you're there. And that's the problem. All right, what else we got? What other fun things you want to do? Heat, we'll work at that. We think we've got the heaters ready to roll. I mean, they seem to be in good shape. We're fine. We fixed the filters, the plumbing's ready to go. We got a motor. I have to put that in, but I've got that, so that's ready to roll. But I'll wait until we're ready to fill and throw that in, because right now I'm wanting to get the paint, because I got 3 days of letting the paint dry. I can do all kinds of stuff.
I can come out and watch the paint dry.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch it paint dry.
Okay, so it sounds like what we're doing, like the number, like the years you're saying, 2, possibly 4, but probably not gonna happen. So what we're at, so it sounds like the big pool is kind of in that, okay, is there any more questions on the big pool? I'd like to jump into the little pool and see what you suggest that we do with that.
Well, let me get time. To tell you the truth, I haven't spent much other than when it was dry, I went with a hammer there and found a lot of hollow spots, but really haven't had much time to really deal with it and look at it. It could be some easy fix. There may be where I can come in and knock up the hollow spots, put a little quick coat of paint, fill it up. If it holds water, we're doing great. If it doesn't, because he'll never hold chlorine. He'll never keep chlorine in it. If he's got to keep adding water, if it's losing water.
Yeah, kind of a safety issue too then.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
You got to have all of it. And that's one that you got to have everything.
we've
kind
been
of-
fighting that for how many years?
But I'm not going to say give up on it right now, but I just don't have time. Right now, my thing is to get this big pool going, get everything done on the big pool, and then we'll look at the little guy. What else?
Well, then I'm gonna get ask Miranda to put it out there then tomorrow morning, the new pool date, opening date. And I'll cut Ann loose on sending emails. She was gonna wait till tonight to send emails to all the our swimming lesson parents. And we may have some cancellations because of getting the schedule to work out. That's all operational stuff, so, but
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
hard work.
You're back, no problem.
And everybody's in the same boat right now, so Brad's been pulling strings all over the place to get people in different places.
Yeah,
And,
I've been, I
So
was
he's-
gonna work here Saturday and Sunday, but it was other places and other, Byron.
in here the way he did was something else, so.
So.
So
All right.
I appreciate everything you're doing there to get us up and running. Thank you.
Yeah, we just want to look nice and get a couple years out of it. I think we've done a little bit more than we had to, but I think we just got to do it because we want to, this stuff, so it's safe and.
We want it to look nice, but we want it to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at first I thought I could just coat the tile and take off the tile, but that bed was so bad. It was just, when I got into it, it was just, we had to pull all that off. So it's all secured.
4 years. And then once he got into it, it was a little back, just a hair,
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Who knows?
What was good about it was that I didn't need to take a hammer drill or anything. I just took my trowel and scraped it off.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, have a good night.
So when you're talking about releasing the date, Brian, isn't that the original date? Didn't we say that the 21st was the original date?
The 7th, that was the original date. We backed it off to the 14th, which was no problem because that was swimming lesson start. And then now it's the 21st.
So we're pushing
So we're
lessons
pushing
back.
backwards.
Week,
Got
yeah.
lessons and the way, yeah, which is what I didn't want to do, or we didn't want to do, but this is where we are, And hopefully we get the years out of it now.
How many years you said?
Well, better get the fundraising quickly. Because that new pool process takes a number of, it's gonna go a couple of, better get going if we're gonna think about it, because we gotta, there's a lot of public things we have to do. There's a lot of, and I was talking to Brad about that as well, about that process. So even if we were 4 years out, we want to get going sooner than later if we're gonna try and run a referendum. It's interesting because he's talking about Byron. Well, I'm in a leadership group with Mary, the city administrator over there, and they always give her grief about having the largest margin of fail on a pool referendum. ever. So that's why she's being a little careful, trying to go another 10 years before she runs another one. Because it failed by so much.
So what are you suggesting? I mean, we've got a pool committee and stuff. Do we get them going again then, or?
Yeah,
what?
because this pool is not gonna, it's like we heard.
We got a tank.
It's either,
Yeah.
yep, it's either,
The
I
bigger-
think everything should be on the table as far as, Goodhue and Pine Island, they've got $3 million pools. Seem to be working okay.
Yeah.
5.4 is probably a lot to bite off to fundraise enough to be able to do some bonding for it.
So talking to Brad and stuff, do you suggest we keep going forward with Burback then, or do we bring?
Cut ties and
It
start with a new one?
Either,
or-
either way, Burback was just doing what we asked them to, so.
Yep, I
If you
understand
tell
that,
them we
but I
want a
mean,
$3 million pool, then
when I talked to him once out there, he said, I'd like to get you a pool similar to what this is here for $3 million. And like you said, Burback has been giving us everything we've been asking for, because we were told to go big originally, and we were big. I mean, we were at 8.5 at one time, and it was like, then reality set in, and then we're down. Then we kind of thought that the Chatfield pool was just kind of a nice fit, and that one was, I think, $4 million or something at that time. But and with the pool committee, they were all looking at, they would say that we're losing so many people to Casson with their aqua. I just don't think we can be in competition with that. And there's to me, there's no reason to be, because if they want to go do that and get it out of their system for a day, let them go.
on any given day, they're gonna run down there, to
Yeah.
the water park. Most days, they're gonna ride their bike out here.
Even if we have some of the bells and whistles here, they just want to go someplace different. So my personal is, just kind of get a pool
That's
not much
usable.
different than what we got, and get, the big thing I've been hearing, the town, they want a splash pad.
Well,
So
I was just gonna mention that too, because I hear a lot of things at these youth baseball games now. And there may be an appetite for some donations for, if we wanted to do, say that little pool needs to go. Maybe we go look at a splash pad, a standalone splash pad sooner. If we can get enough donations for that and put it right there, still run the big pool for another few years, the way it is, and then we can. 3, we'll split the difference. That might be something to explore. I know a standalone splash pad is expensive, but it might be more doable in the short term and satisfy a lot of people, and bring people out with the
On
park.
splash pad, I was on the committee and stuff, and we were trying to do it in the zero entry, because now they've changed the rules, the way Brad was telling me, that you can't
Be in
You have to
circulation.
recirculate.
Yeah.
Can't just dump it, yeah.
But he was saying that, a standalone splash pad might add $200,000. But in my thought on that is, to me, it's worth it, because I think there's going to be a lot more younger kids using that, and keep them away from that depth. And I know Mike and I go back and forth on this a little bit and we can keep it open longer, because you don't need,
Sure.
and if it's a little cooler, kids don't care. They want to go in that thing. They can go a month early and a month later. To me, I just think it's well worth the money to have a standalone splash pad.
And there's some maintenance headaches from what I hear, with the chlorine and trying to keep the water, but I agree. And there also is still some money in that pool fund, We spent a little bit, well, quite a bit on this refurbishment, but there is still some money there that would theoretically defray some of the cost of a splash pad in the meantime.
I was thinking, I do a lot of thinking on my mower when I mow, and I was thinking that same exact thing today. It's like, even we do, like you said, maybe we get really on this thing, and if we could raise enough money in this fall or next spring, or have it open for next spring, a splash pad, like you said, kind of design how we want the new pool, and then we can put that in early. I mean, I agree with you 100%, Brian, that maybe that's the first step we got to take, is take that, if we can raise, I don't know how much it's going to be, $700,000 or something
Yeah.
for it, or.
And there may be an appetite. Like I said, I heard some things that.
Yeah, well, and we
encouraging as
won't
far
know
as a
until we
big
put it out
donation
there,
on that, so.
and that'll take off the expense in 3 years when we want to do,
Yeah, and if it's a $3 million pool, then it's, more pool. and not
take a
spending.
chunk out of it now, and we won't.
Plus, any amenity you add will keep kids coming for a couple of years. You know, this climbing wall, Brad said, you add that, you're gonna get a couple of years out of that. Kids are gonna get bored with it after that. Then add something else for a couple, and then you can move those to the new pool as well. Those type
And
of
like you said,
amenities.
even that you do a side pool like this, I mean, even if we took the diving boards out and put a slide on the pool now, I mean, that's good, like you said, gonna keep them happy, you know, they want to go cool off when
Yeah.
it's, you know.
Good point.
Yep.
I still think, I'm just gonna take another side to this conversation and say that every dollar we spend on the pool should be towards the future pool. If we invest into a pad that can't be integrated into the future pool, I think we should consider a different approach. That's my feeling on just like starting to buy pieces.
Well, it would be integrated into the pool complex. It just wouldn't be part of the shallow
Actual structure
zero
itself.
depth entry. That,
The vessel.
Island has got that.
Is that part of the future Burbach plan, that it has splash pad and zero depth?
It was separate.
Well-
Splash pad was separate on those.
The last one was separate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason how was I supposed, but to have it all in one thing, you got to have the splash pad in the zero depth.
Yeah.
If you're going to use the same pumps and everything.
And the filters and that. No. That's what they're suggesting you go. Otherwise you have to have an independent system for the splash pad itself to,
Like kind of we do for the small pool right
The
now.
opinion varies. If you gotta maintain it, integrated would be better. But for kids and for now, a separate, you know.
What about a fountain? Okay, instead of like starting the pool design until we have it complete, we do like a splash fountain for the city. So like have that for the children. And then start putting the pool together and do like a full force punch fundraising, get that pool done. And because I just don't know this concrete, you know, for 2 years and we're putting pieces on it and then the concrete falls and then the pool needs to be shut down for a summer. Where are we at? You know?
We've been doing those repairs for years. And theoretically, it should be better now. It's got some solid stuff.
So Fred, you had mentioned reinvigorating the pool committee. Is that something that's been just halted or on
They're kind
hold?
of on hold.
Gotcha.
Since COVID or whatever.
Gotcha.
Well, and not knowing where we're at for funds and stuff from the city.
and where we wanted to go and
We
everything.
kind of know where we are a little bit, a lot of it.
So now that we got the in-depth refurbishing, you know, consultation from Brad, we can fire that back up and know exactly where we stand and that our new deadline of 2 years, possibly 3, that's how much time we have before things happen and then what we're gonna do with those funds, right? That's kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah, and you know, understand the process for a pool is that's a referendum that has to be voted on by the voters. And if we were to run you know, well, the $3 million bond that we just did is gonna raise taxes by, I can't remember what it was, quite a bit, enough. You know, so if we did another $3 million for a pool, that's more, so. And we only have so much bonding capacity, so we gotta be careful with that too. You know, so it'd have to be a combination of fundraising and bonding, and it's hard to predict exactly what we could bond for. You know, all in all, it's gonna come down to the appetite, so if we said we're gonna bond for this much and taxes are gonna go up this much and it's voted through, well, then we don't have any money for roads and other things. You know, it's basically where we wanna spend it, you know, and how much the taxpayers wanna put in. You know, I'd love a pool, especially, you know, my kids the age are, you know, everybody'd love a pool, but there's a lot of moving things that go into it. And the pool committee didn't have good direction as far as, they didn't know they couldn't do an $8 million pool. So they were a little
Well,
disappointed
they
with
kind
that.
of did.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we toned it, we let them run for a while.
Well,
And we kind of toned them.
I think it was that, I think it was there when I got here.
Yeah.
Up there, and I go, wait a minute.
There was bonding capacity in there before the Jefferson project came in.
Yeah, I think we had 8 million total, 8.2 million or something like that.
That we
before the
could bond.
Jefferson. Yeah.
And that's going to take 3+ or whatever, right?
The bond, yeah,
Yeah.
bonding, 3 million.
So, I mean, that's kind of our $3 million pool. But, I mean, looking at it that way, we just have to find a way to, because the next step with Burbach also, I mean, it's gonna cost us another money, but they
Chunk of
will
money.
come in and help fundraise this.
Start the capital
This
campaign.
company that we've been working
Yep.
with. They'll help us, well, actually, they'll help us with a referendum. too, and stuff.
Everything. They help with
So-
everything.
And that's the direction that we would have to tell the pool committee. Do you want to, go to the next step, Burbach, and have them come in? I mean, they actually go out and talk to businesses and stuff, so.
Right.
Yeah, it would be a targeted thing and yeah.
Sure.
And their proposal was relatively affordable, I think, compared to other fundraising that I looked at.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's been really good to work with too.
Yeah.
Super good to work with. But yeah, like you said, he did everything that we asked him to
It's
do.
been moving.
Yeah.
So,
So, I don't know. It's just, where do you guys want to go as a committee on
Well, I
the
think,
pool? Because,
I think we really got to give them direction this time. Say,
Yeah.
hey, we want this and 3 million. That's all you got to spend, get us a pool,
yeah, and then they gotta start a capital campaign, which is going to consist of a lot of people. And that's got to get going soon. Because if you only got 4 years,
3 years.
I know. I just like hearing all the numbers.
Building on 3.
So the longer it goes, the more money we're gonna raise, and the more money we raise, the better it's gonna be for everybody.
And I don't think money raising is going to be an issue with myself.
I don't think it's gonna be an issue too. I think there's a lot of people around here that want to
I
give it.
really do.
Yeah, I would suggest to get it going. There was some sentiment that it might get stale if it's out there that long. 4 years, well, it's not going to be 4 years. Well, hopefully it still will be.
Yeah.
But, I think getting it going sooner than later would be better because it's going to take a while to ramp up.
And if we're transparent with the problems that we're having right now, and that if the pool is not going to last but 2 to 3 years, and if we want to have a pool, we need to move and we need to start fundraising now. I
Yeah,
think people will step up.
yeah, I think so too. And if you give them, realistic numbers instead of free rein going into this, it's gonna help out a lot, because we don't need a $5 million pool, but
And I don't think so.
How is it determined though, how much we have to raise and how much we can bond out? How is that determined? Does the city hall or city council determine that?
Number of things. There's a road renovation for like next year. But we're hesitant to do that. But at some point, we're ever gonna catch up on some of this road stuff. We may have to, so you gotta leave a little bit of capacity
But
there.
that's a great question because, the road things, you know how I feel about this, the pool's the one that gets pushed back all the time. If we're gonna spend more money with Burbach and all of a sudden we can raise 2 million out of the 3 million, you go to the city and it's like, well, too bad, you gotta go to raise, I think there's gotta be some kind of.
I agree, and I think, city hall and city council is for the people of the town. And I think they need to step up and support the people too. And if that's $1 million, that's $1 million.
And it'll be voted on.
Yeah.
So people have to say, the taxpayers have to say anyway
Okay.
on that. So, yeah, it's just a matter, we gotta, in city council, we have to kind of balance everything too, because there's a lot.
Mhm.
We could have a nice pool, we can't get there. We'll be driving on gravel roads to get there at some point, because we're gonna
Well,
have so many water main breaks, everything's gonna be gravel. So it's a balancing act. I understand completely. Like I said, Kim's gonna finance it if she wins the lottery, she said.
Raise, what did that raise taxes,
I can't remember.
Was it like 240 or 200,000?
240 for the year?
Yeah.
We've got a bond coming off now, so we're gonna be low on the 3 million for people, so it won't feel it as much,
That's
but
3 million?
yeah.
$20 a month.
That sound right?
That doesn't-
Yeah, it does sound right. I think it was like $22 a
I
month.
think that was on a
Something like that,
$200,000.
Yeah.
That sounds- Yeah, and like you say, most people, a lot of people would say, yeah, we'll pay, pay that for to have a nice pool. But
Let's say summers get hotter and there's a stretch of 100-degree days. Does the city consider it a viable option for public health or to serve the community? Like, this is our pool, you can go there if your facility is not helping you in the hot stretches. Can we take an angle like that?
Oh, yeah, I would think. No, to me, it's recreation, for sure. So. Oh, yeah, I think. Bird Box can help you get fundraising any cheaper than Bird Box offer, or their proposal, excuse me. So. I would go that way. But can we talk about, we're getting lifeguards next, but that's more uniforms and stuff, right? Or wages.
Sorry, I thought I was 15 minutes early, not 45 minutes late. Sorry about that.
Discussion. Yeah.
What happened is we're gonna go forward with the 21st. Brad Thatcher said we'll get there, but he kind of put Mike on the spot. I gotta buy Mike lunch, I think, and stuff every day.
And
He's gonna be out there all the time.
Flowers too.
And Brad will be around to help too, to kind of guide and help. He does a lot of these pools. He got Rochester up in 4 days. Silver Lake, I think is probably older than ours. I don't know, but anyway. So we're gonna have Miranda put the word out on the new opening date, and then if you want to go ahead and send emails.
Okay.
Um,
So I have a question in regards to that because lessons are supposed to start on the 14th. So if we decide to push them back by a week, which is the choice, then do we allow, obviously, refunds if people don't want that lesson time and such? And then, okay,
I think you guys want to make a motion.
okay.
motion on the refunds?
To allow it,
Okay, yeah,
because they're typically non-refundable.
Yep.
But I think we should touch on the memberships.
yes, we should touch on the memberships. I thought about that as well. 2 weeks, what is that, about $8
Well, I mean,
per week?
and put a memo together. We can wait till we get there about the baby pool not being open.
Yeah, that just talks about lifeguard, or that just talks about life jackets. Doesn't talk about,
Because we think some people might want to back out of the membership, being that the baby pool is not going to be open.
yes, we've had a couple messages. I got a couple messages. Awesome. Phone calls.
So refund memberships at request and refund swimming lessons if requested.
Let me find the one here.
That's what you guys will need a motion on.
Then I've got one more for you too. I don't know if you want to lump it all into one motion or not, but we got to keep the guards. And to do that, I think we got to pay the guards for the week that they were, from that. And I talked to Ann about that, and I think it's reasonable in my mind that we would pay the guards for whatever shifts they were scheduled for.
And I haven't put out the schedule for that week, obviously, anyway, because I knew that this was coming. But I do have a schedule of what that looks like and how many hours and that kind of stuff, so we can get an estimate of how much that would be. But yeah, if we don't do that and we lose guards, then I'm not gonna be able to fill schedules, so.
So during that week or whatever, I was gonna say, can they be there cleaning and getting all the prepping done and?
The way it sounded, they'd be done tomorrow with sandblasting. Sandblasting was an issue out there because
Yep.
there was too much dust out there. So anytime after tomorrow, we'll be able to get in and finish that stuff that
Yep.
they started on.
I mean, there's not gonna be the amount of hours to put in for that of what they're scheduled, but absolutely, we'll have everything done during
Do
that
any
time, so.
Painting of floors in there or anything like that, or anything like that in there? Is that all good?
I don't think we're gonna do anything.
Whatever extra to keep them busy,
We got a lot of the stuff organized and gone through. I had a couple of them come up and do some of that stuff. And we did a lot of that, so we just gotta do some of the cleaning, but with the sandblasting, it was just a lot of dust and stuff, so we left. So now it's just like putting all the chairs out, getting the umbrellas up, cleaning, like bleaching the floors, cleaning everything. getting the cash register set up, that kind of stuff. So we went through a lot of it already, and I've got a different organizational system that works with my brain compared to what there was. So on the right path.
That dust was terrible. She had a whole crew in there and it was
Yeah.
like, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Just me, I was out there 10 minutes.
Yeah, we were up there for a little while and they weren't working, or they were doing other things, but not sandblasting. And then when they started, it was like, whoa. So we left, but yeah.
That's where we're at.
Is there any conflict, like the paid lifeguard, if we create fundraiser handouts or pamphlets, and we ask the guards to hand them out, is there like a conflict paying an employee and then having a fundraiser through that?
I have no idea how that works.
A
Still the
fundraiser
pool.
for the pool, the construction of the pool?
Yeah, just start creating pamphlets like.
Oh, I think you can
They got
advertise that at the pool,
They got
absolutely.
bulletin boards out there too that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The holder in the front,
Yep.
Get everybody
pick one
excited.
up, yeah. Yeah, I get that pool committee together, get a new drawing made up of what we can do, and that is gonna
Put it
be,
right up there.
get it out there.
That's Burbach specialty, right? I mean, that's what they're gonna.
Right, that's what they do. That's what we hire them for.
Suggest
37 previews of this.
some road of pools, so
Yeah.
38's not gonna be a problem.
But they were kind of leery about getting too much on the public.
Right away. And
Yeah.
to me, I thought, hey, get it out there. People gotta know what
That we're doing
situation
stuff.
we're in, where we're at and stuff. So I think like Ryan said, we'll get the pool committee called back in, and Burbach, we'll start firing things up again, and we'll have to look on our schedule that we had, or maybe we have to check with Burbach and see what they're.
Put the $8 million pool out there, we want to.
No.
3 million.
I just think with your pool committee, we're gonna have to reach back out to them,
And see who's even in.
because I know Kelly's not gonna be even in, you know. No, he was willing to work a little bit at the end here, but he just says he doesn't have the time for it.
Okay.
So I think you reach back out to them and find out where everybody's at. You might end up having to get some new members in there again too.
I'll call them then and just
I
say,
think that would be the fair way to do
we're
it.
gonna fire up the pool committee again and wondering if you're interested in still being on it. Right?
Is there a conflict of interest between a park board member and a pool board member being there?
Or a pool manager and a.
No, so we had,
Pool
Kelly
committee.
doesn't want to be on there. I'd take Kelly's spot. I got no
Oh.
problem being on the pool.
it's an independent.
Ed.
Oh, yeah. I don't want that much responsibility.
No, Fred was a liaison.
We have a park board liaison, Fred was on there. I think you can have more than one park board member on there. The member, it's.
Oh, yeah.
But the member itself for the committee has to be from the public.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind passing that on to your team, that there might be like fundraising conversations with them.
Okay, perfect.
We're gonna be hitting her hard here pretty soon. 2 to 4 years.
So we need a motion. I don't know if you want to put this all in a motion for the paying the lifeguards the week that we, or 2 weeks probably, right?
It's just, well, technically we were supposed to open today,
Yeah.
but that was never a stipulation that was given when we pushed it back to the 14th. So that's kind of up to you guys if you want to like backdate it this week, but I don't have a schedule even made for this because we had addressed it. And I haven't sent anything to the guards at all, but I do have a schedule made for next week, starting 14th to the 20th. So I guess it's up to you guys as to what your preference is on that.
But you've already had people out there working, so we'd have to pay them for time worked.
Well, they have time cards that they're filling
Oh,
out for
okay.
that purpose,
Okay.
but for, but for like guard, I mean, the time that they've been out there is like 4 or 5 hours versus
Nothing.
some of them like, 20 some hours a week at least, so.
Are the hours evenly distributed amongst the guards that you have for next week, the proposed schedule?
That was kind of my, so I'll kind of show you guys here what I have.
That would definitely be a fair assessment. I mean, if you had 10 guards and you had all the hours evenly split. 10
So like,
ways.
for example, this is the week that starts the 21st. I have like a spreadsheet that has, they're not available where it's blocked out. So that's either a day they requested off or was not in their availability. And then I try to spread it out amongst that. Like I obviously have to go to the days where I have the least amount of guards available first, schedule off that, then go to the days where I have the most available. And then the ones who have already been scheduled, then I try to schedule the other ones where they are available. And so it's kind of just, I just made it as if I didn't know the pool wasn't going to be closed, so that I spread it out evenly. And some guards are at, let me find it. Some of them are at 2.5 hours and one's at 23, because the one with 23 was available when I needed him, because there was everybody else that wasn't available. So it's, that was kind of a conversation. I said, do you have like a blanket, okay, we're gonna average it out and we're gonna pay everybody this? Or do you go off what the schedule would have been had we been open because of availability and whatnot? So I guess that's another question of a way to address it too.
I agree.
Anything different than what it would have been if we were.
I would say there's a lot of people who weren't available very much next week. And so like, you'd be making money off the fact that you wouldn't have been able to work had we been open. So
My only fear is that the guard who said they're only available for 2 hours is because they're already working 20 some hours at a different pool. And if you're only gonna pay them for 2 hours, they're gonna say, thanks, but I already got my new routine. Go ahead and use that extra 2 hours.
If we would have been open, that would have happened.
If that's,
Well, are they doing that only because our date has been pushed
They
back?
don't know about
They
it.
don't
they
know.
don't even know about this week's close yet.
Gotcha. Yep, yep.
And if they want more hours, probably more hours.
And I, next week was like, it's almost a blessing, because there's days I wouldn't have had.
There we go. There we go.
I mean, they even have that out on the Facebook the Facebook forum out there, some to talk. I mean, there's everybody out there you ask, and the June 14th date has been plastered all over there. So, I mean, the community knows that the target was Monday.
tomorrow with all the comments.
Get it out there.
For sure.
I've had messages today. I just drove by the pool. Are you still planning on opening on the 14th? I haven't opened it because
I was told that when I was doing the Field of Flags, some woman told me that we had lifeguards leaving because the pool wasn't open. I said,
no. I have had guards
Yeah.
that have decided to have other employment because they found out that they'd make more money there,
Oh.
but not because they're working with
There we go.
a family member who can pay them more to do whatever. But I have not had any of them say I'm leaving because you're not open.
yeah, I thought that was smoke being blown, so.
Motion of paying the guards the week that you got scheduled. And I think we put it all in the same, the refund lessons as requested and family passes being as requested. Does that work?
Sure.
Okay,
I'll move.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Bye.
Opposed? Carried.
I have one question regarding kind of the backside of that, which I thought should be separated. What if we have questions? Actually, I know we're going to have the question. Does part of my membership get refunded because we were not open for 2 weeks in June, 3 weeks in June? That's going, it's 100% going to be a question because I know people.
And it's a legit question.
I haven't had it yet, but it's going to be a question.
Yeah.
As soon as we put out the 21st, it's going to be a question.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's like 10 weeks, isn't it? 9, 10, 11, it'll be 11 weeks.
And we took 2 of those away?
So we're about, what, $85 for the pass?
Yeah, so we took away 20% of the summer.
Yeah, so that's a valid question.
This is ridiculous, but would you consider asking them to donate it for? 15 months, 1545.
That, yeah.
But I don't want to put it on you or your team because it's kind of salesmanship.
Right.
Family memberships, right?
There's quite a few.
I just want to say that I feel like if you're going to do that, you either have to do it to everybody.
You can't just be the people that ask.
Can't wait for the,
For sure.
Yeah,
is there any chance that you could automatically say that you're gonna put that $15 towards next year's membership and give them a discount for next year? Because they're committed to the pool?
That's gonna be it.
Yeah, all of it. We're gonna be kind of-
We're going to warn you not to do this.
Good, and you're the one doing it. And here we are.
There are four-
It's gonna help me, yeah, you're scared.
44, there are 44 family memberships.
Is instead of just refund them the $15 and be done with it.
It's a lot of work. Might be less work to just put it towards next year.
Well, that's why I'm extremely ignorant on how hard it is to track, but I'm thinking of the Menards rebate or anything else. You give them a coupon that they have to keep track of and say, here's your $15 off for next year. It's actual money that you can use next year towards the refund. They track it themselves. They come in next year with the coupon and say, here's my $15 off my membership. You don't have to track anything.
Track of the money necessarily.
Yeah, that
Back
sounds
to
pretty
that.
good.
That sounds great. You're just gonna have people that'll say, well, what if I lose it? So we could email them something, because it's not hard to hold on to an email.
Right. Every other company, again, Menards is the example. You keep track of your own refund. That's not your responsibility for the rebate if you don't mail it in.
And I think if you're preemptive about this and just say, we know we're pushing it back and here's what we're gonna do. Everybody's gonna get a $15 coupon that they can apply to their membership next year.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because I don't, the amount of staff time and check stuff that would have to go into it, I don't think it would be.
Not for $15.
No,
So an email is a great idea.
yeah, I think that's
Sending out an
great.
email with some sort of a, hold on to this until next year, it would take. Not
What if we say we're not gonna get a membership next year?
Then we could, then I would say, then can we refund them?
Maybe say they didn't wait or something, and say, hey, I got this 15.
I'm not saying that, I'm
You
just
guys-
being the devil's
You guys
advocate, 'cause I
passed the
know it's coming.
refund for the whole pass, so if they choose that the $15 is gonna make them pull their whole pass, you've already approved that for them to get refunded for their whole thing.
Sure,
So
then, so yeah, pull your whole pass then this year.
if that's what they wanna do over $15 that they can't hold on to till next year, then I guess you've already approved it, so they can just take it and go.
How should it work? I guess I can talk logistics later, but like, what do you, yeah. We'll talk that later. Okay.
And I think the email should come from the city, right?
I like the proactive approach. I think there's a great idea. It's like, hey, we know we took away 2 weeks. We're offering this in a gesture of good faith. To other points, people may say, you know what, it's $15, go ahead and keep it, or great, if I can hang on to this email and print it off, in 12 months, I'll print it off, 10 months.
I like it.
Perfect. I like that too.
I just want to finish up with this part of the pool discussion, so I think thank you, Marshall, for allowing us to spend some money on the pool. I think if $25,000 a year would have been spent the last 4 years, we wouldn't be in this situation. We spent all 1 year to get it going.
Right, I was gonna say, what kind of budget do we set aside for that, the pool maintenance?
There was $300-some thousand in that, is what Kim told me, so that's where I think there's some more dollars.
You're getting this thing ready to go, don't we? The last few.
About 70.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure, but this is the extra.
That's the running operational cost is about 70 to
Cost and
75.
maintenance cost every year.
Right, but we're painting it, we painted it 2 years ago and we had,
So we paint it actually every year.
Right. But we stick
You're talking about-
75 away every year for them.
Just to keep it going.
Just to keep it going. But we had a surplus of 300 or something left over, and we've used that up just to refurbish it. Yeah.
And kids ride their bike there, it's on the trail, and I think they're really gonna enjoy the pool for 3 years at least.
campground people, man, there's campers out there,
The new campground with the new pool, you know how big that's gonna be? It's gonna be huge.
Okay, so did we have a second on that motion?
I seconded.
I first
And we-
did it, or I mean,
and did we-
I first did it.
And we voted.
We voted it all? Okay, all right, I wanted to make sure that was taken care of. Okay. So,
Do you wanna finish with your life jacket thing here?
So one of, let me pull them up here.
we gotta look at what lifeguard wages too, right?
Yeah, that's in there too.
Go through the unfinished business and start, because you got that under unfinished business, the 2021 lifeguard.
Okay.
And I think that was next one.
Talk about pool campground, and that's just in a continued phase, looking for grants and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, other priorities, we were waiting for the cement contractors to get in there and get their stuff done, so yeah, Todd, thank you. Skating rink and bathroom, so that's still, okay, so the next thing on the agenda is lifeguard wages.
Oh. I'm just looking at the wrong scroll page because- Oh, there we go. I got it.
So this is proposed over here by UN or what is?
I did not.
Kim, that's proposed by Kim, okay? So that's what they're proposing, what do you, yeah, any discussion on,
The one discussion I would add is we talked about having a head lifeguard and I think we had said $1.
Yep.
I think is what we were above. So then that just is added on to whatever year they're at, is my assumption.
Yeah,
Nobody
she
is
didn't-
even close to year 8.
She didn't even figure any of that.
Okay.
She just did the basic work.
so in that motion, then if we decide to approve this, we'll put in there that the head lifeguard will get $1 extra an hour.
Yep.
So we had talked about just for those shifts.
Yep, just that shift, not like only if you are the person who is
In
working
charge.
that head guard shift.
Yeah.
So it's like $7 a day because it's $1 per hour that we're open, or $6 or whatever it is.
Any discussion on the wages?
Not for me. Looks good.
Then need a motion to approve the proposed lifeguard wages and the $1.
I move to approve the lifeguard wages and the $1 extra for the head lifeguard.
Mike seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we want to, okay, well then, last unfinished business is the Veterans Memorial, Brad Nord. Was he going to come or something tonight or what?
I didn't know. if Mike-
You didn't know, okay. So
Yeah,
we'll,
I didn't know. if anybody-
yep, we'll jump past that then. Okay, well, let's go to your life, or let's go to the life jacket and the lifeguard uniforms then.
Okay, I will start with the life jacket. So we kind of had discussed, or at least brought up the life jackets the last time we were here, and I've had multiple discussions with Jen Klein, who used to guard and works with the ambulance and does safety stuff, and then some of the guards, and then here at City Hall and just different places. And I think that it is, as we don't have a baby pool right now, I think it's important that we have a way that families with younger children can access the pool. And I think that and I've talked to a lot of the guards who work in other pools, and I said, it's really not as big of a deal as it kind of seems like it is. And so my idea and or proposal for it is that they need to be Coast Guard approved. A parent needs to be in the water with the child that is using the life jacket. Cannot be used beyond the first rope, which is like the 3 to 4 foot section. And then the same rules apply to swim lessons. So no life jackets during swim lessons unless it's a part of what the lesson is being taught. And that it's a trial and that we make sure that we post that. So then if it isn't something that works, then we can revoke that at any time being. But I think that it's important so that families who have smaller kiddos can use the pool. And I think if parents are going to be respectful of it, I think too, because otherwise it can be taken away.
I completely agree. I think it's going to help support that the closure of the baby pool is critical. And I think it's going to be vital to keeping some of those people there with the membership and things like that to keep them happy. I think these are great guidelines. And as you pointed out, other pools are already doing it. It's not going to put a whole lot of strain on the lifeguards themselves. This is very simple in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think like, one of the concerns is that it gives children a sense of a false sense of security. But I think that if you don't allow it in the deep end, you don't allow it in the deeper part of the pool, then it eliminates that part of it. If they're with an adult, it takes that away. And let's be honest, the parents who are dropping their kids off of a life jacket are dropping them off without one anyway. In all honesty, they really are. So
Absolutely.
I think that allowing it almost allows for more safety and more of the guards not having to just be focused on that kid who's not wearing one and shouldn't be in there anyway, versus if they had just put one on in the first place. So we will not provide the life jackets. They have to come from them and they have to be Coast Guard approved.
Are you
And does it say
advertising?
that in here, that we're not providing them?
We will, I'll post that, but this pool will not provide them.
And advertising that they have to be a parent with them.
Yep, all of
So
these
a sudden
guidelines
they
will be
don't-
posted right with it.
So they don't drop them off and the kid comes
Yep.
in and then the parent leaves.
Yep, absolutely. This will be
Yeah, we're no
posted
travel
online
fast.
outside the pool, big posters. Yeah, I've had lots of questions about it, and I just think, I really do think that if you make it so parents can't use the pool because they have younger children and they're not comfortable using them, and they can go to the pool down the road and use them, they're gonna go there. You know, it's not that long of a drive to go somewhere else that is gonna let you use them. And so it's a business standpoint, I think, and just like it works, you know, we've seen in other areas that it works. I don't think it's been a problem. So I've talked to a couple of other pool managers in the area and they haven't found that it's been an issue either.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the lifeguards using the life jackets in the new pool.
I'll second.
Is there a motion and a second to allow lifeguards in the pool this year?
Life jackets.
What did I say? Lifeguards.
They will be in the pool.
That would be that's a great thing to approve. Life jackets in the pool this year?
all right.
Okay, then lifeguard uniforms.
Okay, so we were kind of having a discussion about some of the guards were wondering if they could buy a different type of swimsuit that they had had in the past, which is the two-piece that I have posted on there. Some of them have them because they work in neighboring pools, which allow them. I said that I don't have a problem with it, but that it's something that has to be approved by the park board first, and that they know that. I don't have a problem with it if it's a pre-approved and or posted piece of swimwear that we have said, yeah, that I've said, yep, you can wear that. To me, there's no issue with this swimsuit. I think that if that's what's comfortable for them and that's what they want to wear, I'd never require anybody to wear a two-piece, but if that's what they are wanting to wear, they're worn in other places. And for a lot of kids, it comes down to the fact that if they have a suit for their other job that's a pool and they can't wear it here, then it's another strain of a cost, you know, to buy a different suit because they can't wear the one that they already have for a different pool. So that's kind of where I came from on that side of it. And then in talking, in the past, there has been a contribution to guards' suits for the year, whether it's been a portion of a suit or buying one suit for the guard. And so that was something that was just brought up. So I put that in here as a discussion piece for all of us, depending on, I don't know, you know, where that comes from or what the funds look like on the backside of that. But I think that that's also kind of a bonus
I
or
think it's been
benefit.
quite a while since the city has provided suits from what I got from Kim, but they used to.
Yep.
And I still think it would be a good thing and it keep everybody looking more professional out there.
Absolutely.
You know,
12, 13.
so I think when we figured that up, what was the total? 500?
400 and something.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
How many guards do we have? 6?
We only have
It was like
14 right now.
$560 or something, whatever.
Especially if
13,
there's
14.
issues of potentially trying to keep guards or entice them to come here. That's a simple fix right there, no brainer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. So the ones that they want are the ones that are posted on here. So it either, I don't have a problem with it being either navy or red because they come in both colors. And then I think that it's important to have the ones that say guard on them. So I like these ones that are provided by TY or whatever, however you say it. And I think that, and they've always done, at least in the past when I was younger, I know that they had to wear something like this on shift. But when they're teaching lessons, they could wear a one piece that wasn't, it could be whatever, just a one piece swimsuit. They could wear this, but if they chose to wear just a different one, that was fine too. And then I think I told them that if they wanted to add onto the order that they could just pay for another suit as well. So like if they want two, then they just pay for the one, if it's something that we approve to buy them one. But I think depending on what funding looks like, I think that that's a good way to entice them to one, work here and two, stay here. And I think that it's important to have them say guard. I think that that's a good thing for the public to be able to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like Mike's point of having them all match. It's almost like a uniform. It looks more professional.
So they're all going to be either red or navy, or they get to choose what they want?
We can make that a stipulation if you want. I did not stipulate that yet, and they have not ordered anything yet. So I guess that's a piece for discussion as well. If you have a preference on one or the other, either way, I think it would say guard.
Well, I think if they're all the same.
Then you know.
All the same brand with the same printing. Red or blue, they would look all the same as they're sitting out there, you know? And it says guard written right across them. you know?
So you're saying if half of them want
I'm
blue,
saying if
half
half
of them
want
could
blue,
red.
half want red.
Because I don't know for sure what some of them have from their other pools too. So if like, you know, we say red and then they have a blue, well, then they can't use that anyway.
Right.
But if we say this is, you know,
Yeah, if they're blue or red, the guard is gonna stick out.
Yep.
Right, absolutely. They're in the chair, they're, yeah.
not any,
I think they allowed us to mix swimsuits too when I was there. I remember we had navy and red and it just alternates. They don't care. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
And I know they recently allowed the two pieces too. Honestly, I would think that would be better. But that's just my opinion from when I was a guard, so.
It allows them that individuality too, if they decide to pick their own color. They feel like they've got some ownership to it. So I
Yep.
definitely would think either color would be fine.
I have one question. Do we reimburse for their swimming suit at the start of the year or after they've completed their summer assignment?
that's a good question.
That's up to you guys.
So I think at the
Right away?
start, entice them right away. We don't want to lose anybody. And I
Okay.
think you start, here it is.
Yeah,
It's a
okay.
great point though. I think if you are worried about keeping them, then you do it in the, but right now, just to get them in, I think.
And I think compared to like the training cost, which sometimes is like $200, 35 really is a,
Okay.
you know, a smaller, so it's not.
Oh, is that what we're doing with the training? Reimbursing at the end of the year? Okay, yeah, perfect then.
Yeah, so I mean, they're already into it pretty good, so.
Okay, make your motion.
For the year 2021.
Motion a second for the swimsuits. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
I just show up 45 minutes late with my work.
You were right on
I
time.
was sitting at home working on the lifeguard schedule for the next week, if that makes any difference.
Okay, so, did you have anything else that you want to run by us? or-
So we talked about memberships and swimsuits and life jackets and opening and yeah, I'll talk logistics with Miranda about getting with parents and calling them and contacting them, so.
Brian guaranteeing no more delays, so.
See, I told you I could cover for you, Brian.
4 days there.
Can we buy the pool cleaning machine? It sounds like we're over 100,000 with Thatcher's delays probably. And then we have 280 in this money market or something like that. Or can we buy the pool machine or schedule it for August or September purchase?
Well, I think if we're gonna buy this, we're gonna want that before that, right? You mean get it for September?
Oh, get a machine.
I think they
I
use
think
it all
we'll
year.
use it right away.
So,
Vacuum,
Yeah, pool cleaner.
automatic one.
Yes. Is there anything else we should buy?
How much does one of those cost?
could we have, somebody talk to Brad, get us some prices on, you know, because he was gonna get us one on when you drive and when it's automatic. And, or do we have to have a special meeting, or can it go out on email and give input and vote that way, or, you know, because I think if we're gonna do that,
You'd have to have a special meeting or wait until the next one.
okay.
If you're gonna do any kind of motion on.
So this is one that drives itself?
Well, they're gonna get estimates from different ones, but
Variety.
he's got ones that go up the sidewall and goes all the way to the water line. And all kinds of things.
And then one that you can
Drive
have a
yourself.
remote and drive it to where you want it to go to the soil spots.
Yeah, what's your opinion of that?
Well, I think, I'd like to, no, I'd talk to.
But he said they're giving them
I'll
away
talk
with the
to
new
Brad
pools,
tomorrow.
so we'll get another one.
This is.
I heard him say it. It's like the garage door opener.
Oh, that's not as expensive as I thought it was gonna
$5.99. So I don't know if you, I'm sure there's a lot more.
It's 700.
be. I suppose it's different for like a personal pool.
2,500.
Oh, see, I was thinking like.
Oh, no, I was thinking like 2,500.
800,
Probably a
900.
difference in between. I
So what
think-
I'm seeing is that 500 to 1199.
I would say, I bet there's a difference between, you know, like a personal
in the
pool that you
bucket,
have at
right?
home and a,
Industrial.
yeah, industrial.
Says Polaris.
Remote and the caddy.
I think,
So, on that, Mike,
well, I'd like to talk to Brad, you know, and find out what he would recommend.
I mean, we surely,
Why don't you guys pre-approve an amount that you guys are comfortable with and then give Mike the green light to go when he talks to Brad? You can do that now,
We
can't
can
you?
do that.
Sure.
Yeah, you just gotta tell them what you're looking for. If you want it to drive itself, you wanna be able to control it,
Talk it up.
Do you
well,
want it
whatever.
to be whatever we
Whatever
think
Mike
is
and
most
Brad
appropriate?
discuss and he suggests and what Mike's comfortable with and.
$1,500 or something.
I guess I've seen anywhere from like 5.5 up to $1,500 on these pool cleaners, just glancing quick, Fred.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Give them 2,000.
$2,000.
That way, if there's any parts or anything they gotta buy, they can get it.
There you go. New
It'll
pool.
last the length of this pool.
Extend the paint because it won't stay.
Yeah.
Between the labor to clean the pool and the repainting, it may pay for itself in that 2-year period.
Because it sounds like if we had this, it's gonna kind of help prolong the.
Yeah,
paint.
that's what I got out of it.
Absolutely.
This one cleans the floor, walls and water line, just
Yeah,
like you said.
that's what.
That's the $1,500 one.
Say when I search commercial pool vacuum, they're around 12 to, in the, yeah.
Mean, should we have like a 3-option addition, a splash pad option, a rock wall, alternative basketball hoop? Should we put more into the pool this year at our next meeting and get that splash pad idea going?
Was that something?
That's a pool committee will kick
Yeah.
off with on that, yeah.
I think you better get them fired up before you do any kind of things like that.
But I think the pool cleaner
Well,
we
because
can
then
do
you
now.
can, even if you pull the trigger on a splash pad, then if you have a new design for a pool, you can circulate that design around your splash pad that you're thinking or vice versa. Yeah.
Is there a reason why we can't pre-approve the purchase or at least the funds earmarked for a cleaner? Up to, but not to exceed $2,000.
Was that a
Sounds like a motion.
I'm making a motion for that.
I'll second it.
And I have a second on buying a cleaner for the pool. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Carried. Great. Oh, okay, campground host, pool pass.
So is that for like the weekend or is that for like, is that for like the season pass people or?
Yeah, he's asking for a season pass. He said when his.
People that buy season campgrounds?
Nope.
Just for him,
Oh,
him and his family.
Him,
okay.
which would include grandchildren. However we feel about that. He said they used to provide a pass for him, like when his kids were young. And I don't know if he just didn't have a need for it.
Kids.
And now
Yep.
he's got, yeah, now, so, but yeah, he just wanted to ask you guys to see how you felt about it.
Because we don't pay him, but we do. pay
To
him.
clean the bathrooms, we pay him.
But that's the host, the host, that's
Yeah.
why-
He gets a free
Campground.
campsite.
Campsite.
But he takes all the money in all year long and stuff.
Can you hand him pool fundraising pamphlets too?
We sure can.
For sure.
We'll put it in next year's guide too. Yeah.
Stewardship thing,
Mhm.
paying it forward to the person who's taking care of it. I definitely make a motion to give the campground host a pool
Agreed.
pass for the 2021 season.
And a motion and a second, give the campground host a pool pass, family pool pass. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Swimming lesson refund request, we've taken care of that, right?
Yep.
Park shelter refund request.
That was.
This one changed.
Sorry. Sage Hawkinson came in and spoke to me, and I think I included the email. We asked her for an email requesting a full refund. You saw the Zumbrota Town Talk, No Rules, Confederate flag post that was out there. That made her uncomfortable, and she chose to take her party elsewhere. And I said, that's fine, if you're uncomfortable, that's fine. We'll work on getting a refund for you and just send us an email, let us know that you want a full refund. We had a nice conversation. And over the weekend, she had sent me another email and said she did some praying about it and decided that no, she wants to be in her town for her party. And so she wants to have it still. But what she is going to do is not have kegs or beer at all. People are going to bring their own if they want to bring beer. She didn't want any heartache over that. And because we talked a lot about, when you said you were going to bring kegs and that we're like, whoa, wait a second, where's the liability lie here on that? And she said, I don't want any of that. She said, it's supposed to be a celebration for being cancer-free and my birthday. So she said, everybody can bring what they want, but I'm not going to provide anything. And so anyway, she no longer wants a refund and she will be having her party on the 31st. So of July.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was like we had a very pleasant conversation. And so excellent.
Okay, great. Okay, Mike, did you have anything else you need to ask us or?
No, I just want to say, last week we had, we did the in-house service for the for the lifeguards and everybody here, and it went really well. We had Jen Pine came in, and Ann was here, and Miranda and Kim ran over all the cash register and the receipts and everything with them, and it went really well. And I just want to again thank Ann and Jen for helping with that. It was a really good. The other thing is we got not a new one. We're using the AED that used to be here. So Jen ran through some of the AED requirements and training on that and CPR and all that stuff. So it's always good to have her around, and she did a really good job, and I appreciate that. So it was just a good training. We try to do that every year. In the past, we've had our MMUA safety instructor put that on, but he was unavailable. So we just did it in-house and it went really well.
Yes, we're gonna have an AED at the pool, which is exciting.
Yes, thanks to the Suburban Community Trust. They funded some AEDs, so we're going to get one at the pool.
Then when that's
Super
not
important.
out there during the off season, we're going to take it out to the shop, I guess, keep it there for the shops.
Very good. Thank you.
Woohoo.
Thanks.
I don't think so.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion.
Second?
Adjourned. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Get the pool committee going again. You're gonna send out letters to see who all wants to be on that yet?
Email.
Or email or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. And then,
We'll see where we're sitting next month then.
so then we'll wait for the next month, of course, right? And then at that time,
I mean, I can send out an email to everybody and just let you know.
Who's on board, how many we still got, and
Just
then,
so you have an idea, but we can't make any decisions before, unless we do a special meeting.
but then if they get you a number, then you can set up a meeting, for the pool with what's left to start a new committee, a capital campaign committee.
Yeah, you don't need to make a decision until the next meeting.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Not that
Sounds
critical.
good. Sounds good. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We need to bring the mayor's gavel in.